the strategy goes a little something like this. Step one is to look at full sentence options. And when I'm talking about your options, I mean the actual answer choices. So to be clear, when you're doing those punctuation and grammar questions, I want you to start by looking at the answer choices, kind of like we did with the modifier questions and the verb questions. I said like, oh, you're going to notice this is a modifier question because of these answers. You're going to notice this is a verb question because there's a bunch of verbs in the answers. So as soon as you get to the part of the test, usually around question 15, where it's standard English conventions, excuse me, I need a sip of water. We're no longer starting with the question. We're starting with the answers because they're going to tell you what type of question you're dealing with. Anyway, so the first thing you're going to do for punctuation is look for full sentence options. And when I say full sentence options, I'm talking about the punctuation marks that most commonly separate two full sentences. That is their main job. Period. A period separates two full sentences. If you don't know that, again, you're going to have to study some basics first. Some of you might not know that semicolons also separate two full sentences. That is 9 out of 10 times what they do on the SAT. It's not always what they do, but 9 out of 10 times is what they do. So look at those options first. And what you want to test is, do I have a full sentence on the left side and a full sentence on the right side? If you do, then that's your answer. If you don't, then that's not your answer. It's as simple as that. Step 2 is to consider sandwiches. And I'm so sorry if I'm making you hungry. What do I mean by sandwiches? I mean phrases that we can eliminate from a sentence that are sandwiched by either 2 dashes, 2 commas, or 2, what's the singular? Parentheses? A pair of parentheses. So these are the 3 sandwich situations that you're going to run into. And they're super, super common on the SAT, which is why this is step 2. And to test these, I said that they're not essential. Basically, we test them by eliminating whatever's between them. And if the sentence holds up, then that means that's our answer. So if we got rid of all of this stuff, we would have, I'm studying because I care. That is a full sentence. That sentence makes sense. We're good. So that's a legitimate sandwich. Wet leg performed at Coachella. Oh, by the way, if anybody out there was at Coachella, definitely let me know in the chat. Or if you were doing what my wife and I refer to as Couchella, where we sit on the couch and watch the live stream, let me know. Y'all are young, so somebody's got to be watching Coachella. Anyway, that would also be a legitimate sandwich because we can get rid of all that stuff. Again, we get rid of the stuff. I opened my mouth and swallowed a spider. That's a sentence that holds up. So that's how we test our sandwiches. All right. So step 1, full sentence options. Step 2, sandwiches. And then step 3 is just everything else. So we're talking about our colons, other comma usage, quotes, ellipses, like 3 dots, you name it, whatever else. The reason that step 3, I'm just kind of like throwing everything else in there is because it is rare that you're going to get to step 3 and not have already eliminated 2 answers, at least, from step 1 and step 2. Step 1 and step 2 will either get you your correct answer because there's a ton of like full sentence options that end up being correct and a ton of sandwich options that end up being correct, or you will have eliminated like 2 or 3. So then at this point, this is where you actually need to know a little bit more about punctuation rules. Again, I'm not going to get into the specifics of those rules in this hour because we don't have time for that. But in my full courses, I do get into the nitty gritty there. So those are the 3 steps. Let's practice. Step 1, full sentence options. Oh no, where's my pen? There it is. We have a semicolon and we have a period. Importantly, if we have 2 answers that are literally the same except for semicolon and period, as long as there's no complex list in the passage, we can eliminate both answers because we can't have 2 right answers. And by the way, a complex list is going to be when we see semicolons separating items in a list. So basically, we're looking for another semicolon somewhere in the passage, and usually we're going to have a semicolon followed by the word and. So as long as we don't see another semicolon in the passage, we are good to get rid of both of those. But just to go through the process, we would want to see if there's two full sentences, right? So on the left side, another cool thing, don't read anything except for the sentence with the blank space. This changed in 1735 with the passage of the Engravers Copyright Act. That is a full sentence, but which gave engravers control over the distribution and sale of all prints made of their designs. That which is ruining the right side. That is not a full sentence. So that's why B and C would be out, other than just being able to get rid of them. And then here we would look for sandwich options. There's not any other commas, so choice A wouldn't necessarily work with a sandwich. So now we have to consider our other rules. I already said that the word which ruins the full sentence. And what it does is it actually adds a little bit of non-essential information at the end. We are totally allowed to have a full sentence and then a little statement with which, as long as we have a comma after. So a much more, a simple version of this would be I love pizza, which is hot. So more or less, this is what's happening in this sentence. It's just more words and not as delicious. All right. Good job for you guys who got the correct answer. Okay, step 1, full sentences. We have a period, so I'm going to check this. On the left side, this is just one long sentence, so even though we do have to read the full sentence, we can still be a little bit lazy. So basically, I'm noticing this huge introductory phrase, which is another comma rule, by the way. It says 9 months before, da 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 da. So all of this stuff is an introduction, so I can actually ignore it because our main sentence starts at a 15-year-old. So a 15-year-old girl, names don't necessarily matter. In history, they matter, but when you're trying to do these, don't worry about them. A 15-year-old girl was arrested for the same offense. A 15-year-old girl was arrested for the same offense. That's a full sentence. Right side, according to some historians, if you stop here, you are being too lazy. We have to at least finish this because according to some historians, Colvin's arrest led to Park's action. Eventually, we do have a full sentence after that comma, which means the right side is also a full sentence. So since they both are full sentences, choice A is our answer. We don't have to look at the rest.